These days, people don't want their business intelligence platforms to be a stand-apart application from the rest of the software tools in your company's arsenal. You probably have a lot of systems like an ERP, a CRM, document management, collaborative platforms like SharePoint, and probably quite a few more. To make things easy from a user management point of view, IT teams usually want to have a single place to manage security for all of these applications. Imagine if you had 5 different applications and you had to go and add and remove users to these systems every time someone left or joined the company. In a large organization, this would be a full-time job. Now the solution, of course, is single sign-on. Single sign-on allows users to log in to, for example, a workstation to gain multiple access to multiple systems without being asked to log in again and again. Specifically in Dundas BI, there's many ways that this can be supported. So let's explore them. And by the way, this is also a very helpful concept if you're looking to embed BI in an application that you might already have, that you're perhaps even selling to your users. Oh, and I'm Jeff, and this is Off the Charts with Jeff. Now, usually at this point, I like to take the time and inject at least a feeble attempt at humor. But to be honest, single sign-on is no laughing matter. For example, what does a BI professional post to advertise their new dating forum? They write singles, sign on. You see? There's no laughing, right? And honestly, this is probably a new low for me. So let's get into the different ways that Dundas BI supports SSO. So first, the easiest and most common form of single sign-on that is available is to simply use Windows authentication. Dundas BI supports SSO through Windows login via Active Directory out of the box, and with almost no effort. You can also mix and match various login methods as you see fit, because you might want to have both Windows authentication enabled as well as local Dundas BI access, maybe for someone who's external to the organization and still wants to be able to gain access that's not part of your AD group. The next method for single sign-on is to use federated authentication. Federated authentication behaves as single sign-on by enabling the user to access multiple services without the need for authentication. These protocols might include SAML 2.0, OpenID, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and so on. Automatic login with federated authentication can be accomplished by setting the custom login page of the configuration URL. So if you're not familiar with the idea, think of this as some of the online services that you've probably used in the past. Spotify is a great example, as most people have probably seen. You see that with Spotify, you can log in with Facebook, Apple, or even Google account. This is federated authentication. The login and the user management is handled by a third party, but you also gain the ability to do something custom if the user needs to log in and use local. You also get the ability to do something custom in cases where you need something a little bit more than just a pre-built connector to somebody else. In these cases, a custom account provider can be created and will handle your authentication. This is done by creating a .NET extension using the iAccountsProvider2 interface and allows for single sign-in by logging in and having your extension control the authentication. This is basically very similar to the federated authentication, except your code is handling that login. Another option is to sync your login with another application. Now, you would typically do this in embedded use cases where Dundas BI is being shipped along with some other front end. And in cases like this, it's common to have the user log in to the web application as normal, and what you do is you'd add some code to your application to trigger a login within Dundas BI. Basically, it's possible to implement single sign-on by using the credentials that they've already provided to your application so that you can create a session on their behalf within Dundas BI. You might even be creating an account on the fly for them and then logging them in. They may have 2 separate accounts there with a password that they never even know, and your application kind of just feeds them through automatically. Now, another option is anonymous login. Well, not technically single sign-on. It's really handy and can be used to provide access to all users with any content that you want to give them based on security without any need to log in. Really common if you're looking to facilitate an implementation for public dashboards and reports, or maybe a site or kiosk on a big screen TV. In this case, users are automatically logged on using a specified account in the application configuration, and you basically set up an anonymous user and anonymous password. So there you go. 5 different ways that the platform can support single sign-on. These will pretty much cover every need that you'd have, but I'd love to hear if you run into any special use cases where some of these aren't quite fitting exactly, as flexibility and the ability to plug into various systems is definitely important to us. Now, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about security, we've already done a video called Enterprise Level Security Basics in Dundas BI, which can be really helpful, gives you kind of a 360 degree, and probably fits very well if you're looking at something like this. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps.